What if the thing standing between you and everything you want is not more effort? What if it is not better strategy or more discipline or a more aggressive pursuit of the outcomes you have been chasing? What if the thing standing between you and everything you want is the way you have been pursuing it? The anxiety embedded in the pursuit, the scarcity woven into the wanting, the constant state of not enough yet that colors every effort and signals to everything around you that lack is your default experience. Because here is what the Stoics understood and what most modern people have never been taught clearly enough. The quality of what comes into your life is a direct reflection of the quality of the inner state you are operating from. And an inner state built on anxiety and desperate wanting and the constant monitoring of whether things are moving fast enough produces a life built on exactly those foundations: unstable, exhausting, always almost there but never quite arriving. The alternative is not passive. It is not giving up or stopping caring or pretending the wanting does not exist. It is something much more powerful and much more practical than any of those things. It is learning to relax deeply enough that what you want finally has room to arrive. Not the surface relaxation of a person who has temporarily stopped working. The deep relaxation of a person who has genuinely made peace with where they are while remaining completely clear about where they are going. That quality of inner state, that particular combination of present peace and forward clarity, is the most attractive force available to a human being, and everything worth having responds to it. Not immediately always, not always in the form expected, but consistently. With a reliability that the anxious, effortful, desperate approach has never been able to match. This conversation is about understanding why that is true, and about the specific shifts in thinking and being that make the relaxation possible in a life that has been running on anxiety for so long that anxiety has started to feel like the only available operating mode. Before we begin, type this in the comments and mean it. I relax. I trust. I receive. 1. The anxiety is not helping. It is the obstacle. Most people believe their anxiety about the things they want is a sign that they care deeply about them. And in a limited sense, that is true. You do not typically feel anxious about things that do not matter to you. The anxiety is connected to the caring, but what most people have never examined is whether the anxiety is actually serving the caring, whether the constant state of worried wanting is moving the wanted thing closer, or whether it is doing something else entirely, something counterproductive, something that the surface logic of trying harder completely misses. Here is what anxiety actually does to the pursuit of anything worth having. First, it narrows your perception. When you are anxious about an outcome, your focus contracts around the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And that contracted focus, while it feels like productive attention, is actually preventing you from seeing the landscape clearly. The opportunities that exist slightly outside the narrow beam of anxious focus go unnoticed. The possibilities that are available right now in the actual present moment become invisible because your perception is locked onto the future state that has not yet arrived. The synchronicities and the aligned moments and the small but significant openings that a relaxed and present mind would immediately recognize and move through become noise rather than signal, because anxiety is loud, and the quiet voice of genuine opportunity cannot compete with it. Second, anxiety communicates something to everyone and everything around you, not in words, in energy. In the particular quality of presence you bring into every interaction when the inner state is one of desperate wanting and fearful monitoring of whether things are working. People feel the desperation even when they cannot name it. They sense the scarcity even when it is carefully concealed. And they respond to it not with the generosity and the openness and the collaborative energy that the genuine opportunity you represent deserves, but with their own protective withdrawal. Because desperation makes people uncomfortable. It signals need without strength, And most people, most opportunities, most of the things worth attracting into a life are drawn toward strength, toward the particular quality of confident ease that communicates I am good right here, and anything that arrives is a welcome addition rather than a desperately needed rescue. Epictetus said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." Not a desperate grasping at life, not a white-knuckled pursuit of specific outcomes in specific forms on specific timelines. The state of a person who has made genuine peace with what is while remaining genuinely open to what is coming. And from that state, things flow, not because the wanting has stopped, because the anxiety around the wanting has been replaced by something that actually works. The practical question is how? How do you release anxiety about outcomes that genuinely matter to you? How do you stop the monitoring and the grasping and the constant checking of whether things are moving fast enough when the things you want are real and their absence is genuinely felt? The answer is not to want less. It is to understand something about the relationship between your inner state and your outcomes that most people have it completely backwards. The inner state does not follow the outcome. The outcome follows the inner state. Change the inner state first. The outcomes will follow. If you are ready to release the anxiety and let things flow, type this below. I release the grip. I trust the process. 2. What you are radiating is what you are attracting. There is a principle operating in your life right now, whether you are aware of it or not. Everything you are experiencing, the quality of your relationships, the nature of the opportunities that find you, the overall texture of the daily life you are living is a reflection of something internal. Not a perfect reflection. Not a simple one-to-one correspondence between what you think and what you get, but a genuine and consistent reflection of the inner state you are most frequently operating from. The person operating from genuine abundance, from the deep and settled sense that they have enough and are enough, and that more is always available to someone who is aligned with it, moves through the world differently. They speak differently, they listen differently, they enter rooms differently, they make decisions differently, and the world responds to all of that difference in ways that confirm and expand the abundance they were already operating from. Not because the universe is performing magic on their behalf, because the quality of their inner state produces a quality of behavior and presence and decision-making that consistently generates the results that the anxious and scarce inner state consistently fails to generate. The person operating from genuine scarcity, from the contracted and fearful sense that there is not enough and that what little exists might be taken away or might never arrive, also moves through the world differently. They hold back where they should be generous. They push where they should be patient. They misread situations because their perception is filtered through the lens of lack. They make decisions from fear that the person operating from abundance would never make. And the world responds to all of that in ways that confirm and expand the scarcity they were already operating from. This is not punishment. It is simply the predictable result of two completely different inner states producing two completely different qualities of engagement with the world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not the quality of your circumstances. Not the quality of the opportunities available to you, not the quality of the people around you, or the luck you were born with, or the timing of your arrival in a particular market or moment. The quality of your thoughts. Because the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your inner state, and the quality of your inner state determines the quality of what your life attracts and reflects back to you. This is not a passive principle. It is one of the most actionable understandings available. Because if the inner state is the primary variable, then changing the inner state is the highest leverage work available. Not changing the circumstances, not forcing outcomes, not pushing harder against the resistance that the anxious approach keeps encountering. Changing the inner state, from scarcity to abundance, from anxiety to trust, from the contracted, desperate wanting to the open and relaxed receiving. And that change begins with understanding what is actually happening when you relax. When you genuinely relax, something changes in your perception. The narrowed, anxious focus opens. The landscape becomes visible again in its full width and depth. The opportunities that were always there but were invisible to the contracted, anxious mind become suddenly obvious. The aligned moments that were occurring constantly but were being missed because anxiety was too loud start being noticed and responded to. And the world that was always available to the relaxed and present version of you begins to show itself clearly. This is what relaxation actually produces, not passivity, clarity. And from clarity, genuine and effective action becomes possible in a way that it never was from the contracted and anxious state. 3. Stillness is not laziness. It is where everything begins. The world will tell you that stillness is the enemy of progress, that the person who stops moving is the person who falls behind. That rest is for the weak and the unmotivated, and the people who have already given up on what they said they wanted. And most people have internalized that message so completely that genuine stillness has become almost impossible for them, not because they are incapable of it, because they have been trained to feel guilty about it, to interpret the quiet as a problem to be solved rather than a resource to be accessed. But here is what the people who have actually built lives of genuine abundance and genuine meaning have consistently discovered. The insights that changed everything did not come during the frantic activity. They came in the stillness. The clarity about the right direction did not arrive while they were pushing harder. It arrived when they stopped pushing and became quiet enough to hear what was already trying to be heard. The aligned opportunities did not find them while they were chasing. They found them while they were still. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those who you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." Retire into yourself, not permanently, not as a retreat from the world and its demands, but as a regular and essential practice of returning to your own center, of becoming quiet enough to distinguish between the noise of external pressure and the genuine signal of your own inner knowing, of resting in the particular stillness that restores the capacity for genuine, effective, engaged action. Because action taken from genuine stillness is completely different from action taken from anxious momentum. Action from stillness is clear, it is aligned, it is informed by the genuine knowing that the stillness makes accessible. It produces results that the frantic, effortful action never reaches. Not because more energy went into it, because better energy went into it. The energy of a person who is genuinely clear about what they are doing and why they are doing it, rather than the energy of a person who is doing the next thing on the list because stopping feels dangerous. Here is something practical worth understanding about stillness. It does not require hours. It does not require a meditation cushion or a silent retreat or any particular external condition. It requires only the willingness to stop moving for long enough to return to your own center. 5 minutes of genuine quiet. A deliberate pause between one activity and the next. A moment of sitting without an agenda and allowing whatever needs to surface to surface. These small practices of stillness, accumulated consistently over time, change the quality of the inner state in ways that translate directly into the quality of what the life attracts. Not because the stillness itself produces the results, because the person who practices stillness regularly is operating from a fundamentally different inner state than the person who never stops. A calmer state, a clearer state, a more genuinely present state. And that quality of inner state, sustained consistently, changes everything. You are listening to the original voice of Psycho Resto. If you heard this same content on any other channel, including Stoic direction, you are watching stolen work. 4. Stop forcing. Start allowing. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that only the person who has been forcing things for too long knows. It is not physical exhaustion exactly, it is something deeper, the exhaustion of a mind and a spirit that have been running at full effort against resistance for so long that the resistance has started to feel like the permanent condition of everything, like the universe is simply not cooperating, like the things that work for other people are somehow unavailable to you specifically, like effort has been maxed out and results have not followed, and the gap between the two is demoralizing in a way that is genuinely difficult to recover from. That exhaustion is a signal, not the signal most people interpret it as, not a signal that you need to try harder or find better strategies or push through with more discipline, a signal that the forcing has reached its limit, and that something else is needed, something the forcing has been preventing. Allowing, the deliberate and genuinely challenging practice of releasing the tight grip on how things are supposed to go and opening to how things might actually unfold if you got out of the way of your own life. This is harder than it sounds, because the mind that has been operating in forcing mode has a deeply embedded belief that if it stops forcing, everything will fall apart, that the results that have been achieved will disappear, that the progress that has been made will reverse, that the world will stop cooperating entirely if the pressure is released. But this belief is not accurate. What actually happens when genuine allowing replaces forcing is different. The resistance that was making progress feel so effortful dissolves, because most of that resistance was not external. It was the product of the forcing itself. The anxious pushing against outcomes was creating a counter-pressure that the relaxed, open allowing simply does not encounter. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The reaction to the absence of desired outcomes is the key variable. The person who reacts with increased anxiety and increased forcing is adding energy to the problem rather than to the solution. The person who reacts with genuine equanimity, with the settled understanding that what is meant to arrive will arrive, and that their primary job is to maintain the inner state that allows the arrival, is working with the most powerful force available, their own genuine peace. And from that peace, things move. Not dramatically, not always quickly, but consistently, in alignment, in the direction of what is genuinely right, rather than what was desperately forced. Here is the practical truth about allowing that most people find genuinely difficult to accept. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And the person you are when you are forcing is someone who is broadcasting scarcity and anxiety and the desperate need for things to be different. The person you are when you are allowing is someone who is broadcasting peace and abundance and the genuine trust that things are working even when the working is not yet visible. Those are completely different broadcasts, and they produce completely different responses from the world. Relax the forcing, open to the allowing, and give what you want the space to arrive in the form it actually takes, rather than only in the specific form the forcing was demanding. 5. Trust is not naive. It is the most powerful position available. Most people confuse trust with passivity. They think that trusting the process means sitting back and doing nothing and hoping things work out somehow. And because that version of trust sounds irresponsible and naive and like the kind of thinking that produces nothing, they reject it entirely. And in rejecting that false version of trust, they also reject the genuine version. The version that is actually one of the most powerful positions available. Real trust is not passive. Real trust is the active and deliberate choice to maintain a specific inner state, regardless of what the current circumstances appear to indicate. The choice to operate from the certainty that what is aligned with your genuine path is already in motion, even when the motion is not yet visible. The choice to bring your full, engaged, present energy to the actions that are yours to take, while releasing the anxiety about outcomes that are not yours to control. That is not passivity. That is one of the most sophisticated and most demanding practices available, because it requires you to hold two things simultaneously that most people can only hold separately: genuine engagement with the present moment and genuine peace about the future outcome. Full effort in the actions that are yours to take, and full release of the need to control how those actions are received. Complete clarity about what you are building and complete acceptance of the timeline on which the building unfolds. Marcus Aurelius spent his entire life practicing this balance. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Power over your mind, not over outcomes, not over how quickly things move, not over whether the world responds to your efforts in the form and the timeline you specified. Over your mind, over the inner state you choose to operate from, over whether that state is one of anxious forcing or of trusting presence. And that choice, made consistently over time, changes everything. Because the person who trusts genuinely, who brings their full engaged energy to their work and their relationships and their life, while genuinely releasing the anxious grip on outcomes, becomes magnetic. Not in a mystical sense, in the completely practical sense that the quality of their presence and their energy and their engagement draws toward them the people and the opportunities and the experiences that are aligned with who they actually are. Because trust, genuine trust, produces the kind of relaxed confidence that the world responds to, the kind that communicates, "I know where I am going, and I am not afraid of the journey it requires." That communication is felt by everyone who encounters it, and it draws toward the person emanating it exactly the kind of people and opportunities and aligned moments that the anxious and forcing version consistently pushes away. Trust is not naive. It is the most strategically intelligent position available to someone who understands how inner state actually works. If you are ready to choose trust over anxiety, drop this below. I trust the process. I trust my path. 6. The version of you that has everything you want is already relaxed. Here is a thought experiment worth sitting with genuinely. Imagine the version of yourself that already has everything you are currently working toward. The relationship, the financial situation, the career, the health, the sense of genuine purpose and contribution, the life that feels fully aligned with who you actually are. Now think about how that version of you moves through the world. Are they anxious? Are they desperate? Are they constantly monitoring whether things are working and checking whether they are falling behind and worrying about whether what they want will ever actually arrive? Of course not. That version of you is relaxed, not complacent, not disengaged, relaxed. They move with the ease of someone who knows they are on the right path. They speak with the confidence of someone who is not trying to prove anything. They engage with other people from the generosity of someone who has enough and is not afraid of losing it. They make decisions from clarity rather than from fear. And here is the thing that most people miss when they do this thought experiment. The inner state of that future version of you is available right now, not after the circumstances change. Not after the relationship arrives, or the financial situation improves, or the career takes the shape it is supposed to take. Right now. The relaxation that the achieved version of you is experiencing is not produced by the achievement. The achievement is produced by the relaxation. This reverses the entire logic that most people are operating from. Most people are trying to get the things first so they can feel the way the having of those things will make them feel. But the Stoics understood that the feeling is the prerequisite, not the reward. That the inner state of the person who has what they want must be cultivated first, before the evidence exists to justify it, before the circumstances confirm it, in the full presence of the gap between where things are and where they are going. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Begin at once. Not when things improve, not when the circumstances make it easier. Now." with the inner state of the person you are becoming, rather than the inner state of the person still waiting for the becoming to be complete. The version of you that has everything you want is not waiting for things to change to be relaxed. They are relaxed because they understood that the relaxation was the thing that changed everything. Start being that version now, not as a performance, not as a pretense that things are different than they are, as a genuine practice of inhabiting the inner state that your desired reality requires you to have before it arrives. Because when you genuinely inhabit that state, the gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close. Not because you forced it closed, because you became the version of yourself that the desired reality is looking for. 7. Gratitude is the fastest path from scarcity to abundance. Everything we have discussed in this conversation, the releasing of anxiety, the practice of stillness, the shift from forcing to allowing, the cultivation of genuine trust, the decision to inhabit the inner state of your desired reality before it arrives, all of it is made dramatically easier by one practice: genuine gratitude. Not the performed gratitude of listing things you are supposed to be grateful for, the real kind. The kind that arises from actually looking at your life and recognizing what is genuinely already good in it. And there is always something, even in the hardest seasons, even when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels enormous. Even when the anxiety is loud and the progress is not yet visible and the whole thing feels like it is taking longer than it should. There is always something that is genuinely good right now. Something that would have been the answer to a prayer at some earlier point in your life. Something that a different version of you was desperately hoping for, and that the current version of you has normalized to the point of no longer noticing. Noticing it again changes the inner state. Not dramatically, not instantly, but consistently and reliably in the direction of abundance rather than scarcity. Because gratitude is the direct experiential antidote to the scarcity mindset. You cannot genuinely feel grateful and genuinely feel scarce at the same time. They are incompatible inner states, and the one you practice most becomes the one you operate from most. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how eagerly you would have wished for them had they not been yours. How eagerly you would have wished for them. The things you currently have were once the things you were working toward. The circumstances you currently live in were once the circumstances you were hoping to create. The progress you have made, however incomplete it feels from the inside, is real and significant and genuinely worth acknowledging. Acknowledging it honestly shifts the inner state, from the contracted experience of not enough yet to the expanded experience of already much here. And from that expanded inner state, the attraction of more of what you want becomes not just possible, but natural, because abundance attracts abundance. The experience of having enough, genuinely felt in the present moment through the practice of genuine gratitude, produces the inner state that draws more of the same toward it. This is not a trick. This is the completely practical consequence of operating from abundance rather than from scarcity. The abundant inner state produces abundant perception, and abundant perception notices and moves through opportunities that the scarce perception entirely misses. Practice gratitude genuinely and daily, not as a ritual, as a genuine shift of inner state that changes the quality of everything that follows it. 8. Relaxation is a practice, not a destination. Everything in this conversation points toward a single practice, not a state you achieve once and maintain effortlessly. A practice, a daily, deliberate, sometimes genuinely difficult returning to the inner state of genuine peace and genuine trust and genuine openness to what is already moving toward you. Because the world will consistently pull you back toward anxiety. Not maliciously, simply because the world is full of things that the anxious mind interprets as threats and the relaxed mind interprets as information. The news, the comparison, the evidence of other people's progress and your own apparent lack of it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be that is always visible when you are looking for it. All of these will pull at the relaxed inner state and try to contract it back into the familiar territory of anxious wanting. And the practice is the daily returning, the daily choice made again even after yesterday's version of it has faded, to operate from peace rather than from anxiety, from trust rather than from desperate monitoring, from the open receiving rather than the tight grasping. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." What is in your power is your inner state, your practice, your daily returning to the quality of being that allows everything worth having to find its way to you. Take the rest as it happens. Release the tight grip on how and when and in what specific form the desired outcomes are supposed to arrive. And bring your genuine, full, engaged, relaxed presence to the actions that are yours to take. That combination, genuine, relaxed presence in action combined with genuine release of outcomes, is the most powerful position available, and it is built through practice, through the daily choice, through the consistent returning however many times the anxiety pulls you away, to the inner state of a person who knows what they are worth and trusts what is coming and brings their full, genuine presence to the life that is actually happening right now. That person attracts everything they want, not because they want it most desperately, because they are most genuinely aligned with it, and alignment, maintained through daily practice, is the most reliable force available. If you are ready to commit to the daily practice of relaxation and trust, write this below: I practice peace every single day. You have been trying too hard in the wrong direction, not because you are wrong to want what you want, because the anxiety around the wanting has been the primary obstacle to the having. Everything you want is available to you. It is not hiding, it is not being withheld, it is simply waiting for the version of you that is relaxed enough to receive it, the version whose perception is open enough to see the aligned opportunities, whose presence is confident enough to draw the right people and the right circumstances toward it, whose inner state is abundant enough to attract more abundance rather than confirming more scarcity. 8 lessons. The anxiety is the obstacle. Release it. What you radiate is what you attract. Choose abundance. Stillness is not laziness. It is where clarity lives. Stop forcing. Start allowing. Let things arrive in the form they actually take. Trust is not passive. It is the most powerful position available. The version of you that has everything you want is already relaxed. Start being them now. Gratitude is the fastest path from scarcity to abundance. Practice it genuinely every day. And relaxation is a practice, not a destination. Return to it daily regardless of what pulls you away. The Stoics understood all of this 2,000 years ago. They understood that the quality of the inner life determines the quality of the outer one. That peace is not the reward for getting everything you want. It is the prerequisite for it. Relax, genuinely, deeply, not because nothing matters, because everything you want matters enough to stop pushing it away with the anxiety that has been keeping it at a distance. Relax and watch what starts moving toward you. If this found you at exactly the right moment, leave the only thing that matters right now. I relax. I trust. I attract everything I want.